Hello, hello everybody. Hi Frando, hi Pig's Dream, hello Tone. How's everybody doing? I'm getting weary of the cow intro, so I just skip it lately. Tell me how you are for a few minutes while people are joining the stream. I am great. Somebody tell me that I'm live and you can hear me. That would be appreciated. Pig says I'm okay. That means either you can read lips or I'm actually live and you can hear me. Good. Thank you, Frendo. So I'm doing really good. I'm back to being active. Sort of, mostly, a lot. I feel uplifted. I feel like I'm out of the dark hole. You can barely hear stream. Let me see. I can fix that, I bet. I can try to fix that. How about now? Is this better? This is supposed to be better. And I'm also gonna talk closer to the microphone. Hello, The Real Thing. How are you doing? Bit better. I think on your side as well, like on my side, it looks okay. So I think on your side, you should turn it up as well, if it's possible. Yeah, but I am low. I can see I'm low. I'm going to bring it up a little more. How about this? This is as high as I'm willing to go without hearing my own stream. I'm not just doing better. I feel optimistic again. I feel like doing stuff again. I recorded 3 videos. I already edited 2 of them. All I need to do is add a thumbnail and make the shorts out of it, and it's ready, basically. So like half an hour work for each. And I'll have you're gonna start seeing some videos from me. I just realized what burns me out and I stopped doing that. Crazy, isn't it? Yeah, hello Bianca. Okay, so today's subject is lab-grown meat. Let's talk about it. You see, my channel is just getting too massive. I just have such a large audience. I have like way too many subscribers. So I decided to reduce the amount of subscribers by talking about the thing that splits up the vegan movement, basically, right? So that's what we're gonna do. Today, we're gonna lose a bunch of subscribers and piss off some people, but hopefully not. Hopefully I'm coming in peace. I'm hoping that we can actually have like a decent conversation. So let's get into it. So yeah, we're gonna talk about what lab-grown meat is. We're gonna talk about the upsides, the visible upsides of it. We're going to talk about the visible downsides of it. We're going to talk about predictions and, of course, arguments against it and arguments for it. And I'm hoping I'm going to try to look at the chat. So if you have questions, please, or suggestions, or I don't know, you violently disagree with me, put them in the chat. And if I haven't seen it, then let's talk about it after I finish. So it's not going to be long. This is not a deep dive by any means. I think Lifting Vegan Logic done a deep dive about it. No, Tone, actually don't know your position on it. I don't remember. Sorry. So you can state it, right? So here's my thing. When I say that I come in peace, I'm talking to the replay crew as well. I come in peace. I just want to talk about it. So if you are staunchly against cultivated meat production, so I hope we can, I don't know, I hope you can tell me why. I hope I can kind of, from my conversations with other vegans, kind of guess throughout this thing what are, or not guess, I'm gonna mention a few of the counter arguments against cultivated meat. I'm gonna mention them and we're gonna talk about it. So I hope I got all the arguments against it right. If not, let me know, both in the comments and in the chat. If you are skeptical, good job. I'm also skeptical about lab-grown meat. Skepticism is good here. This industry is not being made, mostly not by vegans. So we should be skeptical as of any product that isn't made by vegans, right? So yeah, if you're skeptical, right, I'm right there with you. Though I'm hoping to move you one way or the other today. Let's just say it like that, right? And, you know, keep your skepticism. But like, if you are for it, let's see if I can give you some good news today, or maybe reduce optimism a little bit, because there are optimism reduction things in this chat. So I hope if you are for cultivated meat, you stick around anyways, because you know, it could be an interesting conversation and I could be giving you something new here. Right, so let's move there. So cultured meat, cultivated meat, lab-grown meat, clean meat, those are all the things that are told about meat grown not in an animal, out of animal cells, right? It's real meat, but doesn't require animals to be slaughtered, which in itself is already like, you know, at least me as a vegan, I'm like happy about, because I do define veganism as ending exploitation and killing of sentient beings. I think that's important. So if a cultivated meat can do both, maybe it can't, then I'm fucking happy. Somebody asked me, Pig's Dream asked me, is 3D printed meat is the same thing as cultivated meat? Yes, made out of lab-grown stem cells. 3D printed meat is an edible rendering of meat-like products created from additive manufacturing process. So yeah, bioink is a result of cultured meat. I think that's the only viable way to do it today. I don't think any company is able to actually grow breast, but I have no idea. It doesn't even matter what the technologies are today, so I skipped finding out really seriously. We're also asked if precision fermentation is the same as cultivated meat, and no. And I'm actually like, precision fermentation is my go-to thing. I hope that shit wins actually, and not the cell-grown meat, because precision fermentation basically uses microbial hosts to produce particular end product, right? So there is already precision fermentation whey protein that LVL tried. There is, I think, milk is on its way, like dairy milk, but with zero inputs from any animals. So I think this shit is amazing. I'm for that shit, definitely. But it's a matter of which thing can go faster. And yeah, and I think precision fermentation goes for meats as well, and not just liquid products and things like that. Right. So Okay, so I think we answered what cultivated meat is. What are vegan concerns, kind of, is the question. So, exploitation of animals, obviously, both warranted and unwarranted, in my opinion. So, things that actually to be concerned about and be skeptical about. Is the company taking cells from a specially grown animal, I guess, is the question. Do they exploit their body in any kind of way? Would be the first question. So how the cells got there. So we can do it in a way that does interact with an animal, and the living animal, it can be biopsied and even grown specifically, right? Sorry, maybe I'll put myself in a full screen for this. So that's a true concern. There are ways to get cells, animal cells, in ways that don't interact with animal well-being in any way, and don't exploit animals, or if somebody is valuing suffering, don't cause suffering, of course. The ways are getting the cells from discarded things like feathers, or I don't know, like we drop cells all the time. Basically, if you can kind of collect that shit somehow, you know, that would be a good idea. The third and most viable way to get this is when you have an animal in a sanctuary, for instance, right? And this animal, for whatever reason, undergoes a surgery, right? For their well-being, right? For the reason that the animal needs a surgery. And if you, if something in that surgery is removed from an animal because it's sick, it can't be there, right? Like, for instance, if an animal needs their leg to be amputated, you can take cells from that leg, and it's not interacting with the well-being of animal in any kind of way. It's basically collecting garbage, right? At this point, and if there are viable, good, healthy cells in that leg, it's icky, it's not nice. I'm very much used to it because that's part of my job to take those kind of cells from people, right? Now, with people, I ask them to do this because it has very little, but still some kind of interaction with people, because for people, it's important when you do any kind of genetic research on their genetics. They should know about it and they should give consent about it. But other than that, it doesn't interact with them in any kind of way. Whatever is discarded from them, I take to pathology, and I take a little piece to give to the researchers, right? We do this in human context. In human context, it makes sense to get consent. In animal context, it makes zero sense to get any kind of consent, because like if you amputate a leg, you don't really need pathology for it. You just throw it out. You just throw that shit out. So it's basically collecting garbage, right? And B, because, you know, it has no implication for an animal if you take their genetic makeup in kind of way. Sorry, I've been rambling. So cells is one concern that vegans have. Another, I think, unjustified concern is for people who say, well, it comes from an animal and therefore it's not vegan and therefore it's exploitation. I've done many videos on that stuff. I think there's a equivocation happening there. There's a confusion happening there. And if you can get cells animal cells that are not interacting with the well-being of an animal, I don't think there is a problem. And I frankly don't understand the argument for people who say that there is. If you want to add to the conversation, yeah, let's go. I'm reading the chat. Right. Another concern for exploitation of animals is, of course, fetal bovine serum. And fetal bovine serum is, hey, Davey, how are you doing? Fetal bovine serum is on its way out, not only from the cultivated meat industry, because it's just absolutely prohibitively expensive. It's also kind of on its way out because of that from the medical research as well. And we'll talk about that a little later. But basically, I think most companies, if they didn't switch from FBS to a different plant serum, basically, then they're on the way there. It's part of the demand of creating cultivated meat because it can't be so prohibitively expensive, and FBS always is. It's not only a disgusting product, it's also expensive, so it really is on the way out. So those are the reasons why not. Unless I forgot something, please let me know if you have any more reasons that are intended on exploitation of animals. Sorry, of course there are like environmental concerns, but we'll talk about it in a second. Some claim that there are more greenhouse gases, space, energy use in actual cultivated meat, and as opposed to animal agriculture, which of course we know is an absolutely ridiculous claim. Again, I didn't go too much into it, but let's just say whoever floats the environmental concern never fucking presents the comparison between animal agriculture and cultivated meat. They just say, ooh, bioreactors take a lot of energy or whatever. And we're going to read one of those in a second. And another concern that vegans have about lab-grown meat is adoption, that people don't want this stuff. We're going to address all of these things. Why am I here talking about cultivated meat and trying to basically convince vegans to tentatively adopt it, right? While saying that I personally would prefer precision fermentation. So the one reason is because fucking animal agriculture is fucking scared of it. Animal agriculture are so scared of that shit. They are more scared of that than vegans, right? That's why, well, we'll talk about it in a second. Sorry, David says, I don't necessarily have any qualms with producing lab-grown meat provided there is no abuse involved. But I'm concerned that it won't cause the behavioral change. We like it too. Hold that thought, we'll get there. And I know I'm a little rambly. I'm terrible at giving lectures. So, I don't know. It is what it is, guys. It's more of a conversation anyways. So, my favorite fucking place to go, Agriland. Fuck. Love them, hate them so much. Is lab-grown meat really bad for the environment? And then it gives us a study from livestock environment and people, right? So incredibly biased thing, and they don't actually provide the study. So I kind of can't say, I don't usually like saying, well, it was made by, it was financed by, and therefore it's bad, right? You should be able to look at the research, but they're not giving us one. So what can you do? As LVL says, please provide evidence. There is no evidence for it. And whatever they do say, again, as I said, they point at how much gases impact temperature rises as long as they persist the atmosphere. They look at the cultivated meat industry right now, which is a very theoretical thing anyways. So little of it is being created right now, right? But they're not comparing it to like saying, well, the beef industry emits this many gases and the cultivated beef industry emits this many gases per pound of beef or whatever, right? They don't do this. I'm just gonna kind of trust the people that say that it will reduce the thing. And it kind of makes sense because you don't have to grow a cow for 2 years. You just grow things in a fucking petri, right? And if you want any of those links, let me know and I'll pin them. Again, this is not a deep dive. So this is from Beef Magazine. Fucking love Beef Magazine. Legislation seeks to ensure fair labels on imitation meat, right? So the fucking beef industry really doesn't, really fighting this the way they fight plant-based milk. They fight the cultivated meat stuff as well, right? The cell-cultured alternative meat product. Cell-cultured alternative meat product is not an alternative meat product, is directly a meat product. But, they confuse and attack, basically. So there are a few more examples, right? Nebraska announced the initiative against lab-grown meat. Why? Well, Nebraska is like basically a beef state, right? Number one industry in Nebraska. And cattle production is the largest segment of the industry. Their ag land is like, I don't remember what it says, but it's like 90% or something like that. Yeah. And the Beef Magazine and both Agriland magazines, they're just full of this, right? And Alabama second state, ban ban of lab-grown meat, doesn't matter. DeSantis in Florida famously signs this bill. So them being scared, like even if it's one of those things, if my enemy really hates something, I just might support it even if I know nothing about it. You know what I mean? Sometimes it happens like that. But we do need to look at it a little closer. Of course, remain skeptical, guys. I do appreciate the skepticism around it. I myself am skeptical. Jeremy says the best thing about lab-grown meat is that the technology will lead to lab-grown plant tissues that are a moral issue like avocado and cacao. Yes, I'm getting there as well in a little bit. So before I move on to innovations, right, I actually do want to make those points. Well, no, Bianca, Jeremy did mean that are a moral issue. Avocados and cacaos, they do have moral issues with growing them. And if it's grown in a lab, moral issue disappears, I guess. Oh, copy paste, I guess. Right, yeah. So, why am I talking about all of this at all? Because I have certain hopes about lab-grown meats, right? Or lab-grown animal products, because I want them to expand to everything. So I think, and this is a hypothesis, I think it has the potential to stop or greatly minimize the breeding, exploitation, and slaughter of sentient life. And when I say greatly minimize, I mean in the first few years, right? If for the next, if tomorrow lab-grown meat becomes a reality, but it still has to keep animals alive and biopsy them and all that shit, I'm gonna fight against those people, right? So I'm not gonna accept any exploitation, breeding, exploitation, and slaughter of sentient animals. But it has the potential to reduce it for the short run and hopefully eliminate it in the long run and reduce it to the point of 0.0001% of population, right? And I think that's a win. Even if it's not, it's an intermediary win. It's not the end goal, but it's a win nonetheless, in my eyes. And it can be a good intermediary step towards worldwide adoption of a vegan mindset in the end. Again, this is a hypothesis, but I think many people who went vegan, like plant-based for health, and then became vegan, they keep talking about this, that once they stopped paying for animal exploitation, it kind of opened their eyes. So if we stop exploiting animals or like make it much less likely for a common person to exploit animals, I think we can make the inference that in a couple of generations, the vegan mindset will ensue. We of course can't know that. So environmentally, I think it's a saving grace, obviously. Animal ag is terrible for the environment. Economically, I think it could be really good. It would take the money from the fucking backwards people who get indoctrinated into this industry through generations, and give it to nerds. And, I think that's a good idea. I think people who know stuff should be responsible for our food. I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit elitist. I don't know about that. And it has some potential to make health outcomes for humans better, because maybe in the long run there could be variations, and if you want to be healthier, you don't have to get the 80% sat-fat beef. Maybe sat-fat can be replaced with polyunsaturated fats or monounsaturated fats, and just generally be healthier while remaining still what people want, I guess, right? Bianca says, when it gets cheaper than animal products, then people will buy it. Maybe. I do have a research on that. I haven't read it all the way, but I can give it to you, Bianca, so you can read it, or maybe we can go through it. I just don't want to tire you out, guys. So another potential thing that could be happening with cultivated meat or precision fermentation meat. Reminder, I do prefer precision fermentation because it contains 0 animal cells, and I do prefer that because then the ethical question is totally eliminated, right? But if specifically lab-grown meat becomes a reality, it's gonna have a ripple effect on other industries or other aspects of life as well. For instance, potential diversion of research. So medical research, FBS, could be replaced with actual growth serums that are not FBS, right? So this could happen. This could start in lab-grown meat sphere and transfer to research. Ready cell cultures of both humans and animals that have the potential to grow faster might reduce the number of animals that are used in research, even if the researchers don't all of a sudden get the vegan mindset. 3D printed organs could become a reality, maybe, I don't know. So far, all the doctors that ask them are very skeptical about it because organs are a complex thing. There are many tissues there. But maybe the expansion of lab-grown meats and the progression of that technology could get us there. I don't know. Plant foods, as Jeremy said, I do have that note here. So lab-grown plants could reduce or eliminate crop deaths, can enhance nutritional value and taste, can eliminate variations. So if you buy a watermelon, it's always going to be tasting amazing. You can potentially even choose what kind of watermelon you want, what kind of taste of watermelon you want, right? Like the labels are going to be amazing, all that stuff. So this is going to be like a description of taste, the way we sell wine right now, right? On fucking watermelon, lab-grown watermelons. And also textile. So printing biodegradable fabric instead of growing it in a crop or creating it from petroleum. That could be a reality. That could be really cool. Biofuels. It's almost endless, the amount of stuff that you can possibly do by progressing this technology. But the main one for me is, of course, eliminating animal breeding, exploitation, and slaughter. That's my goal. And I think it gets us closer to that. So yeah, I'm gonna read this later. But I made the mention that people claim that the larger population is not going to adopt lab-grown meat. Well, first, let me tell you that is this all innovation? Oh, shit. Well, so the technologies, many people are working on them. And many people are working on stuff that is adjacent to it, basically. So even Beef Magazine, again, they write about this stuff, right? So new technology could sharply reduce cost of cultivated meat production. And that's like mere months after they wrote how bad for the, how bad it is. So cultivated meat production is taking leaps in technology. That's from beef industry, making it a more viable option for the food industry. One such leap has been made at the Tufts University Center, Cellular Agriculture, led by David Cameron, who gives a shit, established significant cost. So growth factors, whether used in laboratory experiments or for cultivated meat, bind to receptors on the cell surface and provide a signal for cell to grow and differentiate it into mature cells of different types. In the study published in the journal Cell Report Sustainability, researchers modified stem cells to produce their own fibroblast growth factor, which triggers growth of skeletal muscle cells and the kind one finds in a steak or a hamburger. So that's potential elimination of FBS. There is no longer need for a growth factor. The cells can produce it themselves. So that's fucking fantastic. There are more innovations that could help this out. This one is really exciting. Animal cells capable of photosynthesis created it for the first time. So that could be incredibly cool. You wouldn't need energy, basically, if this can become a reality. Now, usually people write this kind of stuff when it's just like really, really in infancy. So it could be dozens of years before this becomes viable, or it cannot become viable at all. I know because I have this kind of similar article written about me, and I'm still haven't innovated the thing that I was trying to innovate. Anyways, in incredible feat, biological boundaries, scientists have successfully engineered animal cells that are capable of photosynthesis. This breakthrough, led by Professor blah, 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 could transform medical research and aid in advancing of lab-grown meat production. That's amazing. So they might not, again, not need the fucking FBS or anything else. They could just fucking grow from the sun. It's basically, I don't know how you would do that. Anyways, there's something that it's worth the read. Not right now. Another thing, from another direction, scientists achieved breakthrough experiment on journey towards unlimited energy. There's a fantastic experiment. How did they do it? Oxford researchers working at an advanced lab in France have achieved a fusion energy breakthrough with experiments that are fast, violent, and fit an episode of Star Trek. Okay. In a nutshell, the experts shoot aluminum projectiles at 1,789 milliamp per hour, something, at a target containing fusion fuel. The collision causes the reaction to start as part of technique called impact fusion. This happens using a mesoscale gas launcher. Fuck if I know what they say, but they're saying that unlimited energy could be reality. Holy fuck, that could change our lives for fucking ever. Now, let's talk about the adoption of lab-grown meat, right? Because it's a big concern, and it's a big concern for me as well. So this research exploring consumers' attitude toward cultured meat in Italy, of all places. So, a survey was conducted, submitted a questionnaire to 525 Italian consumers. That's not little, that's a good sample size. Consumers showed high agreement with the statement concerning positive externalities, blah, 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 who cares? And more than half of the respondents, 54%, stated that they would be willing to try cultured meat, right? Don't remember if there is anything interesting there. Another place, perception of cultivated meat in millennial and Generation X consumers. Let's make it clear. Those are the consumers that we should care about. Those are the people that are going to adopt it, right? The old farts, my parents are never going to try that shit, right? So, you know, and even people my age who aren't vegan are probably already too much set in their mind, might not be as likely to try it. But the new people, the people who still have malleable brains that think and ponder on shit, well, those people are saying, have positive attitudes. 41% of them have positive attitudes towards this stuff. Let's see another one. This is US and UK consumer adoption of cultivated meat, a segmentation study. Let's just look at the graphics. So 40% general population are likely to, highly likely to adopt cultivated meat, right? Or openness to trying cultivated meat. 40% would consider. That's good. That means that's the second wave. After the first ones, the 40% are going to try it and say, yeah, it's fucking nice. It's really tasty. And you can make it taste as whatever the fuck, right? And, you know, no animal died for it. The other 40% are go along, right? The curve of early adoption and then late adoption is, you know, the early adoption is usually very tiny, right? The early adopters are tiny. In this case, we're starting with 40%. That's fucking huge. And then 20% are not open. We're just going to wait for those people to die, right? And hopefully change their minds. I don't know. So that's Gen Z's in New Zealand. Oh, no, it's US and UK consumer adoption. So that's Gen Pop. That's everybody. So the 20% literally, we can wait for them to die. Sorry to say. So now investigating the market for cultivated meat as pet food, a survey analysis. This one is a bit longer, right? Because using survey data from 729 respondents. Again, it's good. It's good cross-section of the population. We analyzed consumer willingness to feed cultivated meat to companion animals, particularly with reference to their own current dietary practices and their own willingness to eat cultivated meat. Though not all our respondents willing to eat cultivated meat were willing to feed it to their companions, a large majority were, 81%. However, those unwilling to eat cultivated meat, the story was more complicated. Vegans and vegetarians were less likely to say they would eat cultivated meat, 16% and blah, 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 than meat-eating respondents, which said, again, 40%. That's amazing. That's an amazing, like, the thing is not even out yet, right? And the adoption percent is huge, 40%, that's a lot. However, among vegans and vegetarians who would not consume cultivated meat, the majority, 55%, indicated they would still feed it to their pets. So people who are very convinced that dogs and cats can't be on a plant-based diet, we do have vegans like that in our movement. There you go, eliminating another animal exploitation. Amazing. And now the downside a little bit. So this is, if you build it, will they eat it? Consumer preference for plant-based and cultured meat burgers. Now this is from 2018. So the point is about me stating it's from 2018, the plant-based meats are already out, right? Beyond Burger has been around since 2009, and Impossible Burgers, redefined meats and all that stuff. And maybe they only mean just bean burgers as well, right? So those options are already around. So the percent that we're going to see in this study is of people who already are in a population where those things are happening. In case of cultivated meat, that thing is not out. But we're still going to see an incredibly small percent of adoption, which I'm going to claim still pretty fucking good. Can you see this? Yeah, you can. So this is the statistics. So this is attitudes, right? So will you purchase beef? They ask them basically if will you purchase, presented questions like this, right? Plant-based burger costs this much, beef burger costs this much, and cultivated meat costs this much. And then they equated the price and stuff like that and made it into a questionnaire. I didn't go way too deep into it, guys. I'm sorry. I just don't think it's relevant. We're looking at it surface level, and we can go deeper if you want. But so people who said they will purchase beef, 69%. Purchase plant-based, 27%. That's not that much. Purchase cultured meat, 12%. That's very little. Purchase organic, who gives a shit? No purchase at all, 0.6%. It's like, oh no, that's 6%. 6% is like vegans and the vegetarians and stuff. I don't remember which country it is. I think the UK. Purchase lowest prices, purchase all burger testers. How many people believe that all burgers taste the same? 7%. They don't believe that it can taste good. Believe that all burgers, I don't know what's the difference here, but believe beef tastes best. 89% believe that beef tastes best. Plant-based tastes best, only 6%. Cultured meat tastes best, only 3%, so in this thing where nobody knows what cultured meat yet, nobody tasted it, looked at it, in 2018, the thing is not great. There is another thing that I wanted to show you here, I think. Where was it? Hold on, let me find it. Oh yeah, predicted market share. So it's a bit long, I apologize. I'm going to be reading for a little bit. So the predicted market share, so this is where they make predictions, right, based on economics. For beef, plant-based and cultured meat burgers, assuming none are organic, given table 5. Is it the thing that I wanted to read? So under these prices, all cost $4. Under these prices, almost 2/3 of consumers purchase the beef burger. In the second scenario, only the beef and the plant-based burgers are offered, right? Although plant-based burgers have only 20% market share, almost half the consumers who purchased the cultured meat burger in scenario 1 purchased the plant burger scenario. Why did I want to read this? So people are making the claim that when you already have all the cool plant-based burgers, right? So we don't need cultivated meat because we already have the cool shit that replaces the burger, right? That replaces beef. Well, this predicts that no, that's not the case. People who would buy plant-based products are not the same people who own more than half of them are not the same as people who would buy cultivated meat. So potentially, this does replace a bigger market share of beef production, right? At least potentially. And again, this is just predictions, so, take it with a grain of salt. But, potentially lower predictions than the other stuff. Another one, in a systematic review in consumer acceptance of alternative proteins, pulses, algae, insects, plant-based meats, alternative cultured meats. So, right. So, pulses, algae, insects, plant-based alternative proteins, and cultured meat. Another bad news thing. This review demonstrates that acceptance of the alternative proteins included were relatively low compared to that of meat. Acceptance of insects is lowest. No shit, we have Sean Bakers and such, and good. Followed by acceptance of cultured meat. So it comes only slightly higher than insects. But I don't have the percentages here, or do I? I don't think I looked for percentages here. Sorry, guys. So I'm just presenting this to say that I'm not trying to cherry pick data here. There are several predictions, and not all of them are rosy, right? And this is the final stuff. Where do we stand in 2024? Because the investors are kind of tired of it. People keep banging on that it's a dead industry and that they're not capable of creating more. Well, I'm saying let's wait for it because it could be. So there are predictions. Regulatory approvals in France. That's amazing. Good Meat announced the world's first retail sales of cultivated meat in Singapore. Who wants to go to Singapore with me to try that stuff? I would smash this. If it didn't entail rights violations, I would. So France's Vital Meat sought regulatory approval to commercialize its cultivated chicken in Singapore again, and in the UK. So that's amazing. UK can get some tasty stuff soon enough. Australia vow achieve regulatory approval in Singapore to launch the world's first cultivated quail product. All right. Never tried quail, but sounds interesting. The Israeli government granted Aleph Farms the first ever approval for cultivated beef. That sounds cool. Have something that's called petite steak. That's interesting. So some investments and the little birdie. Again, not going too deep, guys. So last thing I want to address. So what are the likely outcomes from cultivated meat all of a sudden being a thing, right? There are good stuff and there are bad stuff. The bad stuff, or the, I don't know, maybe, the maybe stuff. As with every technology, right? Some weird stuff will happen, right? People are gonna try human meat, which if it's with consent for receiving cells, I don't particularly mind ethically, but I think it's weird. People are gonna want dinosaur meat and stuff like that. People are gonna go on weird gross mono diets, potentially, right? And somehow, somebody's gonna create porn from that shit. I mean, there's a 3D printer of tissue involved. Somebody's going to do it, right? So weird stuff will happen with this technology. I don't think that means we should write the technology off unless we're willing to give up photography and videography, which are heavily used in not very ethical and sometimes gross ways. Another thing that could happen is that, at least in the beginning, it's highly unlikely that anybody would adopt the vegan mindset through this project of replacing meat with cultivated meat, right? It's highly unlikely for a few generations. And I think we know how ethics progress by now, that we can infer that maybe within a few generations it's just going to be a vegan mindset altogether. But we can't certainly predict that, right? We can't. I just think it's a better case to make that it's likely to change faster than without the cultivated meat, I think. Again, these are all predictions. No idea. But I think my predictions are more likely than predictions of, oh, it's gonna be the same amount of animals, all the animals are still gonna be exploited and it's not gonna be adopted at all, blah, 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 blah. Because there is difference between the surveys, but none of the surveys say 0% are gonna adopt it. And that, for me, makes it worthwhile. Thus ends my presentation. You are welcome to unsubscribe and tell me to fuck off, or please tell me what you think. Let me see if I can read back a little bit of your comments. I'm a filthy millennial here, same. Pig's dream. Although I do act like a boomer sometimes because I grew up in a place that, let's just say, was behind the times a few decades for reasons. 40% adoption is landslide win if the dead body industry doesn't get it banned. I agree, Tone. I think 40% prediction is fucking amazing. It's amazing. I don't think any products predicted such a early adoption percentage. Lab-grown meat has to dominate the market. If slaughtered meat is also sold side by side, what if people don't buy it despite it being cheaper? Meat companies have to reform. They have to adopt lab tech. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer to that until first regulations are made. I think this is largely dependent on what the governments kind of decide to do as well. Another thing that I forgot to say, but I forgot it now as well, so that's okay. Sun grazers, yeah, if we could just use the sun to grow cultivated meat, that would be fucking amazing. I really liked the original Impossible Burger. It tastes like beef, it smelled like fried chicken. It was amazing. If you can get your hands on it, Redefine Meat is incredible. And I'm not saying that as myself. I'm saying that as someone who eats that shit exclusively with meat eaters and shit. And they are like, are you sure this is vegan? So it fools meat eaters. So Redefine Meat, absolutely incredible. 100% all meat eaters whom I recommended to go eat that shit said that. Oh, Impossible, I won't eat them ever. Animal testing. Not sure what you're referring to. I'm sure it was something. I wouldn't buy cultivated meat either. I don't need it. Plant-based meat alternatives are great. But I'd eat precision fermented cheese. Totally. I would eat precision fermented everything, frankly. If they can, well, a little bit sometimes. I really like my diet, generally. Like, I really like it. But if it has no rights violations, and if they create something tasty, I want to fucking eat it. Especially eggs, once in a while. Once in a while, like a precision fermented egg, I'd smash it. Although every time I do smell eggs, it's absolutely disgusting. It just reminds me of childhood and I want to cry. But I bet I can get over that. Laura, with good, excellent copy pasta. Amazing. Every ingredient has been tested on animals. That's true, Pig's Dream. Hold on. Shit, why did it jump like that? Okay. I never had Impossible or Beyond. It took me a really long while to try the Beyond, and Beyond wasn't there, frankly, when I tried it, which was like, I think 4 years ago, maybe. But Redefine Meat, holy shit, it blows me away. So, lion burgers, yeah. I mean, again, if they can be reached without rights violations somehow, like, I'm for it. I'm okay. Of course, there will be prawn. Yep. Rule 34. Of course, every technology. Like, I can see it already. 3D printed worm vaginas made out of emu cells. I don't know, mate. I'm giving somebody an idea. 3D printed penises, for sure. People are rather willing, able to think about animals if they're off the plate. Yeah. I think so. I think it's we have good reasons to think like that. They're not amazing reasons because we don't have data on it, I think. Thank you for the work you put into that. I could have more, but I didn't want to burn myself out. I'm on a streak of doing good job, and I didn't want to interfere with that. And deep diving burns me out. I have like 4 scripts almost finished. There is only the need to do one tiny deep dive. I'm not willing to do it. It burned me out entirely. So just shallow videos from now on from me, guys. But I'm hoping to give some kind of a value with that anyways. Taking 85 billion animals out of production with only a few thousand having the occasional sample taken and pushing the button threshold reach. Yes, but I wouldn't stop there. Yes, definitely I would push the button, but then I'm going to look for the second button as well. For the button that eliminates the needs for those thousands to exist as well. But I'm definitely pushing the button. Pro lab meat hands down, says Mike. Awesome. Still wouldn't eat it. That's okay. We don't need to. Actually, most vegans are with you, as we saw in the research. Most would not eat it, but they would give it to their cats. We know how much vegans like cats, and not all vegans have the knowledge or the resources to buy their cats vegan food. What did I join, Felix? Did you come in when I was talking about 3D printed vagina out of emu skin? We were talking about cultivated meat and what else could ensue from that. So you definitely joined at the right time, Felix. Sorry, I keep calling you Felix for some reason. Navia, hello. Yes, Felix is vegan. Felix is the vegan activist who makes vegans every single day. All right. Alpha Carlos said, sorry, Alpha Carlos, I don't know how I missed your input. I would eat insects if they are tasty. Okay, thanks. Why do so many vegans like cats? Well, they're just fucking adorable. Just fucking adorable cats. It's not a vegan problem. Everybody loves cats. Even I, almost deadly allergic to cats person, fucking love cats. The scratches are healed nicely though. If anybody remembers, about 2 weeks ago, a cat fucking ripped into me for petting them. So, oh no, there's still one scar right there. They're just like, and the claws hung in there for a while, and I was like, fuck me. Vegan food, cat food is expensive as fuck, yeah. If there's a lab-grown meat for cat food, I'm adopting 1 or 2 from a shelter. Damn, I wish I wasn't allergic. Fuck, I totally would. I fucking love cats. Cat is one of my favorite animals. Especially since they just don't need raising that much. They just don't need care. They just take care of themselves. They're like, you know. I just don't like taking care of somebody, you know. The internet was a huge help with spreading the cat love. True. They're the first pillar of the internet. The other 2 are prawn and arguments. That's really funny, Bianca. Hey, Post, did you read that survey study about people being against lab-made meat? If not, I can send. Please do DM me. Yes. Let's check it out here on stream. I would love that. I mean, I don't know if I read it or not. Frankly, I might have. Let me retrieve it. That's awesome. Let me just see it. There you go. This one. There you go. Let's make it pretty. Look at this nice smiling man. Well, I don't know if they're nice. I don't know if they're a man. Gender is hard, yo. Cats are like vipers. They have a power over humans. Yeah, sure. Conventional beef, chicken, and pork products perceived more favorably. Of course they do. Now, before it's readily available. Of course they do, guys. People don't want to get rid of convention. People like convention. I think even like the progressive people, they just don't like change. So many consumers view conventional meats as both tastier and healthier than laboratory-grown alternatives. I'm not sure what they based the health claims on. According to March Consumer Food Insight report. Maybe we can just go straight to the report. Food satisfaction, food securities. Download the report. Oof, that sounds like a deep dive to me. So let's just read this. The survey-based report out of Purdue University Center for assesses food spending, consumer satisfaction and values, support of agricultural food policies, and trust in information sources. Purdue experts conducted and evaluated the survey, concluding that which included 1,200 consumers across the U.S. The U.S. is important. It's the beef country. That's one of the places where we should probably put some more effort in. The researchers used the term conventional meat to describe meat that was sourced conventionally, bred and raised. Well, meat is not bred and raised. Animals are. Oh, hunted. Meat is not hunted. Animals are. Slaughtered and butchered. Meat is not slaughtered and butchered. Animals are. Felix, did you come in here to raise my blood pressure? Jesus. Cultivated meat is grown or cultivated in laboratory from animal cells, focusing on familiar meats and Americans can find in any grocery store, such as beef and chicken. Center researchers saw a big difference between perceived taste and healthfulness of conventional versus cultivated version of these meats. The conventional version received a higher average rating in both aspects. Sure, of course. We see similar results when evaluations of consumer willingness to try conventional cultivated meats in restaurant settings. Who cares? For common meats such as beef, chicken, and pork, researchers found that about 90% or more of consumers are willing to try conventional or non-cultivated meat. What do you mean willing to try? That's what they eat. What is this language? It's weird language. The proportion of consumers willing to try the cultivated version of these meats is around 30 percentage points lower throughout this still majority, though it is still a majority, about 60%. That's the highest we've seen so far, 60%. Guys, cultivated meat needs to become a reality. It needs to be good. It needs to be really fucking amazing, right? Because they're willing to try, and they're not saying they're willing to switch. But if it's like generally the same price or cheaper, and it tastes fucking good, I think most people will switch. That's what I think. Consumers willing to try exotic or cultivated meat. Oh, lions. There you go. Chicken, 96% are willing to try. Is this weighted proportions? Cultivated chicken. Oh, cultivated chicken. 67% are willing to try. 65% are willing to try cultivated cow. 60% cultivated pig. Cultivated octopus, well, then it goes down the drain, right? 31, 29. So that's good news on the fucking, fucking dino steaks and humid steaks. That's gonna be shit so fringe. So fringe. This is amazing. Let me make it bigger so you can, no, you can't make it bigger, fuck. Sorry, guys. This is about as big as it's gonna get. That's amazing news. Felek, you dog, you brought it all the way home. So, I guess, let me read up. Have you ever noticed that supervillains try to change things and superheroes try to keep things from changing? Yeah, maybe. And I don't know if I would put it in such words because we don't want to bias this shit. We don't want to keep level-headed in these cases. There are some upsides to conservatism. They're willing to do stuff we are not willing to do, like go to war more likely than us and stuff like that, Which, war is bad anyways, but if it happens already, they're more willing to become fodder, I guess. Supervillains, so it depends on whose point of view you're using. I honestly don't think lab meat will change anything. People are too stupid. Well, what are you basing that on? Because we can clearly see that they're at least willing to try. If it tastes amazing, why wouldn't they adopt it? So, I mean, I guess that could be your intuition, but you kind of going against everything, against all the evidence we've presented today. So the question is, are you willing to change your mind? And what kind of evidence do you need to change your mind, I guess? Sapnilf, dragon steak, stress crisis averted, don't panic. Not sure what you're talking about there. I do not trust any numbers on this sort of thing. This is all pre-lab grown meat. I agree with you, Nilf. I think when it comes out, if it's good, it's going to grow exponentially. The numbers are going to be bigger. As soon as it takes off, millions will be spent on propaganda saying it's not natural, numbers will wither away. I don't think so. I don't think so. there are people who are resistant to propaganda, and I think we can. This is one of the reasons. Hold on, let me just go full screen on you. This is one of the reasons that I'm doing this, because Nilf, I do think you are correct. I do think, and I showed it already throughout this thing, there will be huge amount of pushback and propaganda and lies and the traditionalism and all that shit. There will be. There's no doubt about it. That's why I'm doing this. I'm trying to convince vegans to at least tentatively come on the side of lab-grown meat, because we're going to be needed to counter the propaganda when the time comes. We still have at least a few years until then. But we have to get there, right? We have to counter the infographics and make viral videos about this shit. And it's not gonna come from me, because I have 570 subs and probably dwindling down since this stream. I don't know. So that's one of the reasons I'm doing it, you know? But I think in the end, it's not like it's gonna disappear. Billions are being spilled into this Nilf. Billions. Spilled into cultivated meat. No amount of propaganda is gonna stop this industry when billions was spent on creating it. That's not gonna happen. Come to America, trust me, we're stupid. We're looking at American numbers. Somebody can be stupid but compliant. We're looking at American numbers. Look at this. 67% are willing to try cultivated chicken. And Americans eat chicken the most. That's their preferred meat, despite the beef propaganda. 67% is fucking amazing. The thing is not on the fucking shelves yet. Those are amazing numbers, man. So Americans are stupid. They couldn't figure out one. Yeah. Okay. Yes, transition to any kind will have issues and pushback, of course. You can ask people how they feel before society starts pressuring them, and it's good to see they're open without that pressure. I'm pro lab-grown meat, by the way. Good. It's, as I opened this with saying, if you are skeptical about it, good. We should be, right? But skeptical doesn't mean being against it. Just means checking it, right? Checking that it's good, checking that it doesn't increase rights violations, shit like that. Seems like plant-based meat should be pushed, not lab-grown. I disagree. Based on what, Navia? Based on what? The numbers are against you. And I showed specifically, that's why I showed that specific thing. Let me go back to it, if I haven't closed it yet. There you go. Where, was it here? No, I think it was here. Where it said that almost half of the consumers who purchased the cultured meat in the scenario before that, when cultured meat was included, purchased the plant-based burger scenario. So about 50% more people would demand cultured meat if it's presented as an option than there is for plant-based meat. So, I don't know. Like, maybe, but what makes your hypothesis, and it is a hypothesis, right? It's reading into the future and reading people's motivations and minds and perceptions. The research doesn't seem to agree with you, Navia. So what are you basing it on? I mean, Florida has banned it. Well, that's fine. It will be unbanned in a couple of years. DeSantis is not there forever. Mayors don't stick around forever. The second guy is going to come in and quietly make that law disappear, and it's going to be fine. Florida, it's a state, one state out of 50. Hey, Elliot Davis, how much longer do you reckon you'll be on? I don't know, a little bit longer, as long as you people are talking to me. I'm going to stay on. If you want to send me something counter to this research that I presented, and Felix helped present as well, let's go, show me. Show me when something that says that cultivated meat is gonna have a negative impact on the world. I'm willing to try. I'm saying I'm skeptical. I'm tentatively pro lab-grown meat. I'm much more pro precision fermentation animal products, because it's not gonna be animal products at all. So there's like seriously zero ethical implications there. Of course, you still need to feed bacteria something. So assuming that that should be ethical as well, right? But there should be no animal cells in that at all. And then problem solved. But if you want to send me something that breaks me to the other side, I'm willing to listen. Cultivated human is fine as long as we aren't harming humans. Exactly. I'm with you, Nilf. Lab-grown meat and plant-based both bring new vegans. I think so. Aluwali. Maybe not immediately, and might take a few generations. Probably gonna take a few generations. Cultivated cold. Well, okay. Thanks, Navia. Or at least expand options. Yeah, we already have a bunch of plant-based meats to redefine meat. Guys, seriously now. If you have it and if it's not horrifically expensive, try it at least once if you can afford it. Oh my God, really, really good. People just don't want one-to-one flesh experience. That's the thing. Every fucking carnist I talk to, I tell them, there's a restaurant where you can buy a redefined meat burger, and it's the best burger you're gonna fucking eat, right? And those who take my challenge, they say that I'm right. So, right. Last night I was watching a health vegan say plant-based meat was less healthy than real meat. I had to stop watching his life. I don't know what they're basing it on. It potentially has, it can be potentially modified to be healthier. Seriously, just replacing some of the sat fat with PUFA or MUFA will deliver amazing health improvements. So I don't know. Pig's Dream, if you want to tell me who that was, I'm willing to check it out. Plant-based meats are not enough for animal liberation. Of course not. Never would they say that after we get plant-based meats, we should stop. Not ever. We should continue fighting. And the fight is going to be easier, I think. You don't know Florida like I do. Nilf, are you from Florida? No, I don't know Florida like you do. I've never been to US. Or I could be from the US. Nobody knows. Some of you know. It is easy to demand something that doesn't exist. It sounds like an excuse to not be vegan. Well, maybe, but if they don't exploit animals, I'm okay with it. And also, usually these predictions are made. Listen, guys, these surveys are made to find out if the industry is viable. These surveys are not made for fun. They're made as an economical inquiry. So 67% of people are willing to try cultivated chicken. That's fucking fantastic numbers. Even if only a third of those people would actually get convinced by the cultivated chicken, that's huge numbers as early adopters. Huge. Oh, I wish I had I wanted to do this, but I didn't do it. Like, to find a paper that did one of those surveys, like economic predictions of early adopters of something else. I don't know, like phones, like, like cordless phones or something. I bet their numbers were lower. And now we each have one of those in the pockets. Basically, on personal anecdotes, well, I think that's not enough, Nadia. I think that's not enough, and it contradicts the actual data, collected data. It's like, it might as well go fucking carnivore based on personal anecdotes. I mean, Pennsylvania governor is a Democrat, also pro-banning lab meat. What a cock. Well, I hope it changes, but America seems to be like a really, really shitty. I'm sorry. America seems to be shit altogether. So yeah, maybe America will be one of the last adopters. I don't know. I'm hoping not. Although some of them become health vegans are the worst and the ones most likely to become ex-vegans. Well, the ones that are diet hoppers, I think, are. I don't know if health vegans are. There are many people who are plant-based basically for life because they're not cringe. They're not diet hoppers. The people who are diet hoppers, who are like, I feel like my throat hurts, let me hop to a different diet, it must be my diet, and then keep doing it in perpetuity. Although some of them become ethical vegans later on, yeah. Elliot Davies, based on that response, I want to try and catch up the whole thing, I just catch up on some. Okay. I've been living without animal flesh for years. Adapt will change moral consideration. Well, I don't know what you mean by that, Stephen. I'm not asking you to change your moral considerations. I'm asking, I don't know what you mean. So if you want to, elaborate. I need to open a restaurant and serve redefined meat. Yeah. That shit is fucking expensive though, but it's fantastic. I won't even eat plant-based meat or lab meat, as meat was always been disgusting to me. I don't get the addiction. Well, yeah, it tastes good. I used to be an avid meat eater. Seriously though, shit, I ate a lot of meat. But they still eat animal burgers the next time. Maybe. My brother loved that plant-based burger he had once too. I don't know. Maybe. I love various TVP. Same. Korea has a ton of meat alternatives. Sure. 1, 2, 3 ingredients. Who cares? Something can have a really long ingredient list and be helpful. Maybe we can introduce lab-grown human meat to Melanesia. What's that? Why, Mike? Why? Do they eat people there? Oh, it's in Papua New Guinea. Yeah, they might. Reject modernity, embrace tradition. The real question is, should we support lab-grown meat if they have to harm animals in the process of making it? So, Tone addressed it, right? As a button that you have, like 2 buttons in front of you, right? One of them is just continue killing trillions of animals a year. Breed, exploit, keep in horrific conditions, and then slaughter trillions of animals a year. Or keep thousands of animals a year, whom you need to be alive, biopsy them once in a while, which I hate. Of course, it's exploitation, and it probably will cause harm and discomfort and all that shit, right? But no more trillions of animals. So if you push, which button do you push? I push the button that says don't keep doing what we're doing now and reduce it exponentially, right? That's not the last button that will ever be pushed, right? So yes, if animals are harmed, I wouldn't consider it to be vegan. I would consider it to be closer to a vegan world. I would push that button. It would cross the threshold, I guess, the way Tom said it. But I would consider it a tragedy, of course. No animal should be exploited and killed for any reason that isn't their own best interest. American home of the refills. Home of the free refills. No, don't shut up, Navia. Just explain yourself. I don't understand. That's all. Make a change from me talking crap. But you're very smart, Tone. Melanesia has a human meat trade. Jesus Christ. I have to read up on that, Mike. Could be an interesting hypothetical turns real life argument kind of situation. So could be an interesting piece of information to know. Thanks for letting me know. I didn't know that. And getting banned by YouTube. No, not again. Tone keeps being banned. No timeouts for Navia. You can keep talking. It's fine. It's utilitarian to be okay with some animals being enslaved and abused. Nobody said we're going to be okay with it, and it's not necessarily utilitarian. It could be threshold deontologist. But it falls in line with my threshold deontology to find it acceptable to save billions. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Nobody is okay with it. I don't think as vegans we should be okay with the thousands still being exploited. I would consider that still being a tragedy. It would still have fire in my ass to liberate those animals as well. That's one of the reasons that I'm more excited about precision fermentation than cultivated meat, but it seems cultivated meat is closer, I think, because of all the innovations that I showed you, and like I bet there are like 1,000 innovations all the fucking time, right? People are trying to make this happen. And it's fucking, just by the fact that so many people are working on trying to make this happen, it just gives me hope that it might, and that we're gonna get rid of real meat. And it's in my lifetime, please God, I'm getting old. I'm hopeful, that's all. And I feel good mentally, so it also increases my ability to be hopeful. Threshold deontology is what we can accept as a step on the path. The trolley problem is a reason for a reason. Sure? No. People have validations for their reasons or justifications. Right. There are no easy solutions, for sure. Of course. Creating Beyond Meat wasn't easy, but there it is. And it I bet, like, I know people who switched. Guys, my best friend, she no longer eats meat. She eats only redefined meat. And drinks almond milk. She likes almond milk for some reason. I don't know why. Soy would be better for her, but whatever. So those things, all of those things, every innovation is important because it takes another person off the market for torture. That's amazing news always for me. Impossible Beyond, whichever one it was, killed those 178 or so rats. It was impossible. I agree with you. Impossible is not vegan. Not good, but ultimately helping the greater good. Yeah, maybe. I never tried Impossible, so I have no idea. I have no idea if it, it has a share market, right? It sells a lot. Still think it's shitty. They did it for basically like selling it in fucking restaurants. It's a little shitty, I think. I think that was probably the wrong decision. They probably should have went to court. That's what I think. But of course, that costs a lot of money, I guess. So maybe they couldn't. It might have killed Impossible as a company. I don't know. Will Elwood start to sell lab-grown Labrador? I'm sure Molly's gonna do something very interesting with this stuff. Pig's Dream says, I'm not vegan. Well, what are you basing it on? Because I think you're pretty vegan. Your girlfriend is an almond milk fan. She's not my girlfriend, she's my best friend. And yeah, she likes that marzipan tasting shit for some reason. I don't know why. There's nothing wrong with me. I hate that shit, but she likes it, so she has a taste preference. It's not the best taste preference, but it's what it is. Nerds Like Us says, well, why all of a sudden you saying shit? Starting with I'm not, and I might be. What's wrong with you people? What are you reacting to? And I'm caught up with the chat. So, how do you think it went? Did anybody learn? Can I do polls here? I don't know if I can do polls here. I want to. Well, never mind. Put 1 in the chat if you learned something new today. Put 2 in the chat if you even marginally changed your mind on your position. Put 3 in the chat if you feel hopeful and validated. And put 4 and add a reason. Why 4? Redefined isn't available in the UK. That's criminal. It's criminal. I'm telling you. Somebody should write them. I got here late. I will have to go back and watch. 1, 2, 3, Pig's Dream said. Pig's Dream, what did you change your mind on? Tone has to be a fucking rebel. Bianca is also rebelling with 13. Oh, she says 1 and 3. That's okay. 4 is hopeless. Well, that contradicts number 3. Veganism, I guess. You changed your mind on veganism. What? Well, you can tell me later if you want. Okay. So. Okay. I think this has been a productive spending of my time. Thank you everybody for coming. I'm gonna go look at my subscribe account. Like this video, by the way. If you think I wasn't too rambly and you want to send it to somebody, that would be cool as well. So see if you can share it around. Thank you everybody for coming and see you next time.